Okay, so here's a few tips if you're going to shoot this challenge. You'll notice how the targets are set up here in the first array. The steel is in the middle. You basically, when you have two shooting positions, like two shooting boxes like we have in this particular challenge, you never want to leave a shooting position by shooting the steel last. So in this case, our steel placed in between the two paper targets is perfect because we can start on our left and work our way to the right. And most people read left to right, so it's only natural to start left and go right. With the steel in the middle, that keeps us from leaving the shooting box on the steel plate. And what I mean by that is, imagine the two paper being on the left and the steel on the right. I would shoot the paper on the left, the paper next to it, and then the steel, which means I'd shoot that last before I left my shooting position. The problem you encounter there is steel is much smaller than paper, and you typically miss it. So sometimes it takes more than one shot to hit the steel just because it's smaller. So what you end up doing is you shoot that steel, you think you got it, and you step out of the box and you realize I missed. Now you got to come back, shoot it again, and either wait for the verification that you hit it or shoot and try to go again, and oh my gosh, I missed, and you have to come back and do it again. It's the chow chow chow, if you remember the cat food commercials way back when. So in this case, we don't have to worry about that, but as a general tip, try not to leave a shooting position on a steel target. So then in our next array, on to the right over here, once we get into our shooting box, I have a steel that is first, and then we have two paper targets that are stacked on top of each other. Now ideally, once again, people reading left to right, you would think you'd shoot the steel first. You can do that. However, you just ran from one shooting position to the next, so it's kind of hard to draw a bead on that tiny little target because you're a little bit exhausted, your heart rate's up because you're moving, so it's kind of hard to shoot that. So you want to try to get in on a big paper target. Typically it's the closest paper target you can get on, but in this case we only have these two. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to take my first shot at the paper target. Now I'm going to shoot at the bottom paper target as opposed to the top paper target. And the reason for that is, if I was to shoot at the top paper target, my gun would obscure the bottom paper target. So once I'm done shooting at the top, it would be more difficult for me to transition downward to the next target because I don't see where I'm going. I just know it's there. So in this case, I'm going to come in on the lower target, shoot him, and while I'm shooting him, I can clearly see the next target I want to shoot. So all I have to do then is just follow my sights and raise up and shoot the paper. Then I'll finish on the steel. And finishing on the steel, if you miss, you're already standing, you're not going anywhere else, you take one more shot. So there's no urgency to move from box to box. Now speaking of boxes, this is how you want to do this. Generally at a match, they let you do a walkthrough and you can try to figure out the best method for you to shoot. I'm going to stand, you can game this. We have about, I think it's about 3-foot square box here. I'm not going to stand over here because I want to go that way, and I want to be as fast as I can from getting to this box to that box. So I'm going to crowd the side right here. And you can crowd the front right corner if you want because that gets you a little bit closer to the targets. Not that critical, but you try to stay on the right side if you can because I'm going that way. So I'm going to shoot my targets, and when I leave, I'm going to take my hand off the gun. You don't want to do the Charlie's Angels run, the chick run with two hands on the gun. It looks funny, but more importantly, it's uncomfortable and you won't move as fast. So I'm going to drop my weak hand and I'm going to keep my gun pointed in a safe direction. Let me pull that out. I'm going to keep my gun pointed in a safe direction while I'm moving, and I'm going to be looking where I want to step. Now, since I'm coming in this way, my first step is going to be my left foot, and I'm going to turn my foot like this and bank it parallel with the box. So then I come up with my other step, I step in, and as soon as I get this foot off the ground, I can break the shot on my target. That'll speed you up just a little bit, and you could lose by 1/10 of a second for doing this. So we shoot, shoot, shoot. I leave, drop that hand off the gun, get here, and shoot. So as you're stepping into the box, you want to be extending your gun towards the target and bringing your other hand up to get on it. So by the time this foot comes off the ground, your sight should be almost lined up with your target and ready to shoot. So that's a lot to soak in, but It looks fairly simple, but there's a lot going on this stage. If you haven't seen the first challenge I put up and the tips, I'll put links here at the end of the video. But have fun and enjoy. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more competition shooting and gun reviews.